Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Today, we're going to be playing a little bit of Gloomhaven. So, Gloomhaven is, I would say, primarily a board game. I think that's what it's mostly known as. If you're really not into the board game world at all, you may not be aware of it, but Board Game Geek, which is the sort of premier board game kind of website, forum, discussion, ranking, all that sort of stuff. It's the biggest board game site. On there, the global rankings for like popularity and stuff like that, and rating, Gloomhaven is number one. It's the number one board game, you could say, and it has been for a few years now. And it also had a standalone sort of, I wouldn't call it a sequel, but it was kind of a streamlined version of it, a little bit smaller, cheaper, for kind of introduction to the game, called Jaws of the Lion. And now, just very recently, there's Frosthaven, which is a true sequel. Big, massive thing. Kickstarter backers are just getting it nowadays. I just got mine like a week ago. But Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion are also on Steam in digital form. This has actually been on Steam for a little while. But when it first came onto Steam in early access, it didn't actually have the campaign mode, like as in what the actual board game is. It just had like, the structure of like combat and characters, and had some other like new mode into it, but it wasn't the full campaign. But now the full campaign is in there. And I've played a fair amount of Gloomhaven, mostly like actually on a tabletop in person. But I've played a little bit of this digital version, a little bit on Tabletop Simulator, so I'm familiar with it. But we're going to try doing a Let's Play of it. I don't know how far this will go. I don't know how much interest there will be or anything like that, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, so let's just get into the campaign. We're going to... Mangg Bang's already in use? I highly doubt that. That would imply that I would go to here and there... Damn, I really do have like a one-track mind. Alright, we'll delete that. Alright, we're gonna play on normal difficulty. As God intended. These sort of... The board game is customizable a little bit in difficulty. I don't think it's quite this customizable. I don't remember there being like a blessed mode. Like I don't remember this friendly stuff. Starting with 3 blesses and having 50% more health. That's pretty good. Honestly, we could play on easy and it would be okay, but we can change it anytime. We'll use the updated enhancement system. I think that's fine. Then we have house rules. We're gonna go with recommended across the board. That's all fine. So they actually, you can change it so there's no miss modifier. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, we'll play with Jaws of the Lion enabled because I bought it, primarily just for the extra characters it gives you.
Welcome to the harsh lands of Gloomhaven, recruit. You think you have what it takes to become a mercenary out there on the edge of the world? We are paid to venture into the darkest forests of the region and to step into ancient crypts with the unmistakable stench of death and rotting flesh. Lovely places to earn a name for yourself. Be ready to face cutthroats, undead, fearsome tribes, and dreadful demons from other realms. You didn't find yourself as a mercenary without knowing how to crack a few skulls, did you?
I think that peaked out a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna skip all these tutorial stuff. All right, so starting class. So there are 6 classes to start with in the original Gloomhaven. Jaws of the Lion adds 4. From the base game, we have the Brute. He is pretty much what he looks like. Big melee brute guy, high health, defensive abilities, tanky, you know, your standard melee dude. Then we have the Mind Thief. This has been my favorite starter class. I've started as them multiple times. I think it's a female. She's sort of a quick little melee fighter. She can augment her melee attacks in various ways, but primarily the most common one you're going to do is just the one that buffs the damage. Yeah, she does get access to summons, but I never fucked around with it because it didn't seem very good. And yeah, just kind of a sneaky little stabby. She can go invisible sometimes. Yeah. Scoundrel, another sort of sneaky stabby. She's got some poison abilities, but primarily her role is high mobility, moving around, and just doing very high damage to like one target. She gets certain cards that buff her damage if a target is adjacent to any of your other characters. So like just swarming them or flanking them or something like that. She also gets bonus stuff if a target is like is by itself. If like it's not next to any of its other allies. So, you know, classic sort of rogue stuff. Spellweaver, classic sort of mage. A lot of AoE stuff, a lot of, you know, just big magic spells. Very soft and squishy, though. Only 6 health to start. And she's a little bit complicated for newbies, for reasons that I might explain later. She, you know, I guess I didn't really explain Gloomhaven at all in general. It's a tactical strategy game. You know, if you think of like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics or something like that, you know, it's a grid-based strategy game that is all about card play. So every round you're going to be playing 2 cards. And there's a lot of strategy and decision making in which 2 cards you pick and how you use those cards. And so a lot of your most powerful abilities come when you actually burn your cards and you lose them permanently for the scenario. And so most of the Spellweaver's powerful abilities come from having to burn her cards. But she does have an ability that lets him get all the burned cards back, but she can only do that once. So when to use all the burned cards and then when to use that one card that lets you get them back once, you know, that's kind of what she's all about to start with. The Tinkerer is sort of your healer to start. At least the class with the most healing abilities at the beginning. So it's sort of a range support, various status effects and things like that, and buffs. You know, generally the support from range. Craigheart. This is sort of the melee support. he does have ranged options. He can do some ranged stuff, and you can kind of like spec, you might say, in certain directions depending on what you need to do, you know, depending on the rest of the party composition. So you could make him a bit more melee oriented, a bit more ranged oriented, a bit more support oriented, you know, whatever you might need. So those are the 6 basic Gloomhaven classes, and there are a lot more to unlock as you go. Then we have Jaws of the Lion. I'm not familiar with any of these. I have not played Jaws of the Lion. We have the Red Guard. This is their frontline melee dude, just pure tank. He's got some ranged options, but yeah, just your tanky boy. He's a tanky boy. Void Warden. This is their sort of spellcaster. Can do some healing, some buffs, some manipulation abilities, so control, but, you know, still squishy. Says it works better in larger parties. We're not going to have a larger party. We're going to have 2 characters at all times. That's primarily due to the length of the scenarios. The more characters you have involved, the more enemies there are involved, and the whole longer it all takes. Hatchet. This is the ranged character who throws hatchets. So just range damage straight up. Apparently he has to go pick up his axes after use. That's very interesting. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And the Demolitionist. Actually a melee character. A lot of stun abilities, can smash through shields, and melee AoE, it seems. I'll be honest, I'm more inclined to check out some of these Jaws of the Lion characters because I have no experience. I've tried out pretty much all the base Gloomhaven ones. So it's not really... I mean, you know, I could do the base Gloomhaven stuff, but I'm actually planning on starting up a campaign with some friends on here online, and we're going to be doing base Gloomhaven, so, you know. I'm thinking maybe Red Guard Hatchet. That might just be too much damage and not enough options. So maybe Red Guard Void Warden. We might... Void Warden works better in larger parties. That makes me question it. Honestly, Red Guard Tinkerer might work okay. Although this says weaker and smaller teams as well. Hard to say. I wonder if in general sort of range support isn't great in smaller parties. But I'd like to have some sort of heal option. Let's try Red Guard Tinkerer. We need a name. I'm not going to get fancy with it and just call him Red Guard. All right, so then you get your personal quest. This is sort of a long-term goal that's going to take multiple scenarios to complete. Once you do complete it, your character retires. You can no longer play as them. But you get a new class that you've unlocked. So we have the Thin Places complete 6 side scenarios from the base game. So side scenarios are what they sound like, just complete side quests, not part of the main thing. Or kill 8 forest imps and then unlock a scenario Forgotten Grove and follow it to a conclusion. So both are going to take quite a bit of time. One gives you this eclipse symbol, and one gives this sort of bone saw symbol or a saw symbol. I think let's do complete 6 side scenarios. Just because I've not... I've probably unlocked like 5 classes of all the secret ones. I think there's like 12 or not secret, but 12 unlockable ones, and they're all very hush hush to begin with. Like, this is all you get. This symbol, that's all you know. And this symbol, it's a saw or an eclipse. But I've heard people talk about the eclipse class being really good, so let's go for that. I feel like I might be a little too loud. Hold on. Just move the microphone a little. Okay. So then we're gonna go in here, new mercenary, Tinkerer. We'll call him the Tinkerer, because I'm not fancy today. All right, kill 1 demon of each type from the base game. That's a flame demon, frost demon, wind demon, earth demon, night demon, sun demon. And the Tinkerer has to be the one to land the killing blow in order for that to count. So that's a little tricky. Or a study of anatomy. Experience your party members becoming exhausted 15 times. That is a lot. In a party of 2, that means that the red guard would have to become exhausted 15 times. Exhausted means essentially defeated. You die. You're out of the scenario. So in our case, the red guard, our tank, would have to die, and then the Tinkerer alone would have to finish this scenario. I don't think he'd have to finish it successfully. Because that, I mean, ideally, that would be good, because if you fail, you have to redo it. But for the purpose of that objective, all you'd have to do is experience it. But yeah, in a party of 4, that's a lot easier. So let's do the kill 1 demon of each type from the base game. Okay, then we have the merchant shop. We each start with 30 gold. Now, in the rule book for the board game, they actually recommend gear for each class. So I don't remember what the recommendations were for like the Tinkerer. But yeah, so gear is broken up by sort of like type and you know where it's located. So there's head items, body items, hand items, leg items, and small items. So pretty much you can have 1 of each equipped, except you can have 2 hand items unless it's 2-handed. So for the red guard, our tanky boy, we could probably go to the iron helmet. Basically would nullify crits against us. We could grab the chain armor. During your turn, gain 1 shield for the rest of the round, so block 1 damage from every attack against you for a whole round. The hide armor would be the hide armor is similar, but it would only count for 2 attacks, and it would add a -1 card to our deck. Or maybe 2 of them. I'm not really sure if that's what that means. So that's not great. Leather armor. The attacker gains disadvantage on the attack the next time 2 times you're attacked. Disadvantage just means they're more likely to get a bad modifier on their hit, so they'll do less damage or miss or something. So that's appealing. I might take iron helmet, leather armor. Heater shield, it's very similar to the chain armor, except it only blocks 1 single attack. Warhammer adds stun to an attack action. I haven't looked at the red guard's card, so I'm not really certain. Boots of striding add 2 move to a single movement. Can come in handy. Winged shoes adds jump to a movement, so you can jump over obstacles or traps. Or healing potions to heal for 3, stamina potions to recover a discarded card. You know, going in, it's hard to say. I'm not really sure. How many cards does he have? He gets 10. That's a pretty standard number. I could see taking the leather armor and the iron helmet, and we will equip those. Okay, for the Tinkerer, this is a ranged class. Well, some of these are not probably great. A heal 2, range 3. That's a pretty solid bottom. A move 4. People have written up guides for every class and like what cards you should go for, the different builds you can go for. I don't think we're going to need this many heals, is the thing. Energizing tonic is a double burn. Probably don't need that. Whereas reviving shock could be a multi-target. I think that's a bit more appealing. Get this text out of here. Looking at cards. Okay, volatile concoction would actually let the red guard recover discarded cards as a non-burn. Potent potables. Yeah, we don't really need that. I don't know. I would probably take the Eagle Eye Goggles. This gives an advantage on an entire attack action, so we hit like 3 things with 1 attack, we get advantage on the whole thing, which is big. I mean, that's very appealing. So we're gonna go with that. All right. First thing is a city encounter. So these are gonna happen pretty much after every scenario or before every scenario, and there's some flavor text and then a choice of 2 things usually, and you don't know what the outcome is until you pick it. So a curious invitation is slipped under your door in the early morning. It is for a wedding ceremony between the children of 2 wealthy Gloomhaven merchants. Your exploits seem to have placed you in their good graces, and so they would like you to join them on this special occasion, provided you don't show up in blood-soaked armor. And for the love of the great oak, bring a gift. So we can attend the wedding with an expensive gift or with a mundane gift. Now, I would imagine the expensive gift is going to cost us money. What I don't know is what happens if we don't have any money. Usually, there isn't a stipulation on like, oh, if you don't have enough money to do this, this happens. Usually it just says, deduct this amount of money. So let's do the expensive gift and let's just see. You are one guest among many, and everyone is having too good of a time to notice your poor choice in gifts. -5 collective gold. Now, we didn't have it. We had none. So I think basically just nothing happened. The Temple of the Great Oak. We can go here after every scenario and give $10, and that will bless us, which is a good thing. It's a good thing you want in your modifier deck for that scenario. And I think if you do it, God, I want to say 10 or 12 times, you get a new character. I think the one you get is like a paladin-esque. I think it's a paladin-ish thing. So it's pretty good. But yeah, let's just do the first scenario. So this City Quest Roadside Ambush, I believe that's the start of Jaws of the Lion. So we're going to ignore that forever, because I just want to do the base game. So we're going to the Black Barrow. Embark on your first quest. Kill all enemies in all rooms. That's going to be a fairly common objective.
Everyone needs to eat. Whatever your reason for coming to Gloomhaven, out here on the edge of the world, That simple fact is never going to change. A mercenary can't fight on an empty stomach. So when Jexera, a Valrath woman wearing a red cloak and enough gold jewelry to keep you fed for a decade, approaches you in the Sleeping Lion and offers to pay you 10 gold coins to track down a thief and retrieve some stolen goods, well, seems like as good an excuse as any to sober up and start paying off your tab. This thief has taken some important documents, says the red-skinned merchant, her tail whipping about in agitation. I don't care what you do to him. Just bring back what is mine. Based on Jexera's description, it was easy enough to knock around a few alley thugs and get a location of the thieves' hideout. You don't find yourself as a mercenary way out in Gloomhaven without knowing how to crack a few skulls. So your target is the Black Barrow. Sounds like a lovely place.
All right, so on the road to pretty much every scenario, you're going to have a road encounter. So there's city encounters and road encounters, and they function very similarly. Generally, road encounters are going to be negative. They're kind of designed to put a little drain on your resources in some way before the scenario. But sometimes you can get some positives out of it. There was a heavy rain last night, and the roads are now dark streaks of mud. And as bad as it is for you walking, you see that others up ahead on the road are having worse trouble. You come upon a collection of wagons stuck in the mud on the side of the road. You look around and see an odd assortment of people dressed in garish clothing. They are working to push their brightly painted wagons, all emblazoned with a marvelous and magical Techno Circus logo out of the muck. We just stopped for a quick meal, and now the wheels have sunk into this mess, a quattrel with a fancy top hat says as you approach. I'm sure our strongmen will get us out eventually, but we certainly wouldn't begrudge a little extra help. So we can push out the quattrel ringmaster's wagon or the fortune teller's wagon. It's kind of a crapshoot. Let's go for the ringmaster. You put down some boards and then heave and push until the great wagon is out of the ditch and moving back on the road. The diminutive quattrel tips his hat. Well, I certainly could not have done that on my own. Your assistance is greatly appreciated. I tell you what, the next time we're back in Gloomhaven, why don't you stop by our circus and we'll let you in for free. Alright, so seemingly no result from that, but it might have added a future encounter to the deck without telling me. Obviously in a board game it tells you everything that happens, but a video game can obfuscate some stuff.
It's easy enough to find. A short journey past the New Market Gate, and you see it jutting out on the edge of the corpse wood, looking like a rat under a rug. Moving closer, you see the mound is formed from a black earth. Its small, overgrown entrance presents a worn set of stone stairs leading down into the darkness. As you descend, you gratefully notice light emanating from below. Unfortunately, the light is accompanied by the unmistakable stench of death. You contemplate what kind of thieves would make their camp in such a horrid place as you reach the bottom of the steps. Here, you find your answer. A rough group of cutthroats who don't seem to have taken very kindly to your sudden appearance. One in the back matches the description of your quarry.
Okay. So as we start, we're given 2 battle goals. Basically, if we manage to complete this goal or not fail it by the end of the scenario, we get 1 or 2 perk points. And every 3 perk points you get a perk, which are good. Not like game-changing generally, just kind of a modifier. But yeah, you want to work towards them. So for the Red Guard, we have Insomniac, suffer damage from an attack the same round you long rest. Or pickpocket. Collect 1 or more money tokens by performing a loot action while you are adjacent to 2 or more monsters. Okay, Insomniac probably going to be easier, so let's go for that. Tinkerer, Trailblazer, open a door and end your same turn in the revealed room. Or Die Hard, never allow your current hit point value to drop below half your max hit point value during the scenario. So Trailblazer in this scenario would be a little risky for him. I can't imagine he would be able to do that and not take damage unless... Now, we might be able to work with that. Die Hard, also a little tricky because of how cramped it's going to be. I imagine he's going to take some damage. They're both a little tricky, I think. We'll go for Trailblazer. I can kind of engineer that one at least. Okay.
Care of these unfortunates, your target says, backing out of the room. You can vaguely make out his silhouette as he retreats down a hallway and through a door to his left. Well, it's not every day we get people stupid enough to hand-deliver their valuables to us, grins one of the larger bandits, unsheathing a rusty blade. We'll be killing you now. Joke's on them. If you had any valuables, you probably wouldn't be down here in the first place.
That's very true. I have 0 gold. All right, first scenario. I've probably done this one like 8 times in my life so far, so I'm pretty familiar with the layout, especially for 2 people. All right, so like I said, Gloomhaven is a tactical strategy game. It's grid-based with these like hexagons. And every round, each player character is going to select 2 cards from their hand of cards. The Red Guard starts with 10 cards. The Tinkerer starts with 12. Every card looks a little something like this. It will have basically a top section and a bottom section with a number in the middle. You're going to select 2 cards. And one of the cards you select, you're going to take the number in the middle as your initiative for that round. And the numbers range from 1 to 100. And initiative order for that turn is going to be based on the lowest number to the highest number. So low numbers mean you go fast. High numbers mean you go slow. During your turn, you're going to take the 2 cards that you've chosen, and you're going to do the top section of one of the cards and the bottom section of the other card. Always. That's always how it works. You don't have to decide when you're picking the 2 cards which top or bottom you want to use. That's you can do on your turn, but always the top of one and then always the bottom of the other. It doesn't have to be in that order either. You can do the bottom section of one first. The top sections tend to be the damaging abilities. The bottom sections tend to be movement abilities. But obviously, many different classes, many different cards. There's a lot of different things that happen. Additionally, any card can also be used for a basic ability. So you can always just say, I'm using the top portion of this card, and I'm just doing the basic ability, which is an attack for 2 damage. The bottom basic ability is a movement of 2 spaces. So you can always do that. Because you might have cards in your hand that you have to play, and you're not really happy with the, like here, I might have to play Shield of the Desert, and instead of shielding for 3 and losing the card, I might just want to move 2 spaces. So you can always do the basic ability, and that does not lose a card, but it does get discarded. So a big part of Gloomhaven, and a big part of the difficulty of Gloomhaven, is card management. The Red Guard, say, starts with 10 cards in his hand. Every turn, he's going to pick 2 cards. You have to pick 2 cards. If you can't pick 2 cards for whatever reason, and you don't have any other options, you're exhausted and you are out of the scenario. So every turn, you're picking 2 cards. So after 5 turns, he's going to be out of cards. They're all going to be in his discard pile. At that point, he can take a rest action, and we'll get into that later. Once you rest, you get back all the cards in your discard pile, but you have to burn one of them. And depending on the type of rest you take, you might get to choose which card to burn or not. So then you'll be down to 9 cards in your hand. And so you can only take 4 turns, because the last 5th turn you only have 1 card. You can't have that. So you have to play 2 cards, so you'll have to take another rest, and then you'll be down to 8 cards. And so on and so forth. So if you only ever lose cards or burn cards due to rest actions, there is a certain number of turns that the red guard will have, barring other, effects. I don't know what exact number, but, he'll have 5 turns, then he'll have 4 turns, then 4 turns, then 3 turns, then 3 turns, and so on. And then he'll be out of cards, and he can't rest to get back any other cards. They're going to all be in his burn pile, and he'll just be done. Okay? You can sort of hasten that along a little bit by using certain abilities on the cards to actually burn them for a powerful effect. So the Shield of the Desert, if you look at the bottom right, it has the burn symbol. So if you do that bottom ability, the Shield 3 and all that other stuff, you will get a powerful effect out of it, but then it's gone. It's burned. Most characters do not have a way of getting back burned cards. So when to use burn abilities is, again, a massive part of card management and a massive part of Gloomhaven. It's really important. If you burn a bunch of big cards right at the start of a scenario, your longevity is severely limited. Okay? So that's pretty much all the basics of Gloomhaven. So, we want to be moving in, ideally, and doing some damage. So there are 3 spaces away, unless I move right up to the front guy. Then I could do a move 2. So I could do something like Swift Strength. This would be a move 2, and I would shield 1 for the whole turn to help me soak up the inevitable damage that's going to occur. I haven't looked at any of these cards ever, so there's some to take in here. Obviously there's more mechanics that I haven't explained. Healing Sands, also really good. Move 3, and all attacks targeting you gain disadvantage this round. That's theoretically even better than the Shield 1. So we could do that. Could do Twirling Stabs to attack 2, target all adjacent enemies. It's hard to say. Well, I could have mobilized that guy. That's not a bad combo. All right, so let's do Healing Sands to move and gain the disadvantage buff there. And then Blinding Sickle, the top part. That'll be an attack 3 on the guy that won't be next to us, and we'll immobilize him and make a light element, which I'll explain. All right, the Tinkerer. So for him, we want to do some AoE or some poisoning could be good. Stun shot, very viable. If we could stun an enemy, that'd be even better. But Reviving Shock, we could just do a couple double damages. It'll target 2 enemies at range 3. So I'd have to pair something with this to move. But again, you can do any sort of card as a basic move. We want to go fairly quickly. It'd be nice to go, in front of the guards. Let's do net shooter for now, just to get a low number. And reviving shock. We don't want to burn anything just yet. Yeah, I thought I removed this. Oh, no, I didn't because I liked the heal on the bottom. All right, reviving shock. All right, those are our picks. All right. Bandit guards are all moving at 55. So, every enemy type can have a normal enemy, which is what these guys are, bandit guards, and then they can also have an elite version, which is what this is. Elite versions use the exact same action as the normal type each turn, but they have different stats. So the bandit guard elite has 3 more health from 6 to 9. It actually has 1 less movement, but it has 1 more attack. So it's a little bit tankier and more damaging. Fortunately, both our characters go before the guards. So, I mean, we could use the basic action or the normal action. It doesn't matter. As long as it's not a burn, it's fine. So let's just move here. Then we're going to use this action, targeting 2 enemies within range 3. Both of those. We could use our eagle eye goggles, but we're not going to waste that just yet. Yeah. All right, so that was a 0, so a miss basically, and then that was a +0 for 2 damage. Because there was an attack of 2, so for each attack that you do against each target, you're going to draw a modifier from your modifier deck. In the board game, this is a 20-card deck that is identical for each player character. Most of the cards in this basic deck are +0, but there's +1s, -1s, +2, -2. There's a crit for double damage and a miss card that does 0 damage. And so this makes it unpredictable what sort of damage you're going to do with every attack. So there I missed one and I did 2 damage to the other. That could have easily been a crit and a +2 or something like that, but that would be pretty rare. So what advantage does is it means you draw 2 modifier cards and you pick the better one. Disadvantage, you draw 2 cards and you take the worse one. So that was that turn. So now we're going to go here, move 3 right up here. All attacks targeting you gain disadvantage this round. So he's got that buff. And then we're going to do this. Attack 3, range 2, immobilize. Go. +1 for 4 damage. He's almost dead already. Immobilize. Pretty much every status effect lasts 1 round. It lasts until the end of the figure's next turn. So they're about to go right now. So this guy, as soon as he's done with his turn right this round, this immobilize should go away. As far as I understand the rules to be, I guess we'll see. But yeah, most things basically last 1 round. You can game it sometimes a little bit with initiative and, make it last a little longer, but it's essentially like 1 turn. All right, so he had disadvantage, but he rolled very well, or he drew really well. He got a +1 and a +2, so he drew the +1. That's 4 damage to me right out the gate. Whenever you take damage, you can choose to just take it from your health, like normal, or you can burn cards. If I burn 1 card that's in my hand, I negate the entire damage. If I have no cards in my hand, or I choose, you can actually burn 2 discarded cards. But that's really a worst case scenario. We're just going to take the 4 damage because we have a lot of heals. Now, the other thing that they're doing... There you go. That was -1, so I only took 1 damage there. The other thing they're doing is buffing themselves with Strengthen. That gives them advantage on their attacks next round. So that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Okay. So we created a light element last round. Elements have a pretty simple function. Various effects create them, various effects consume them. They only last for basically 2 rounds, with the round that they're created counting as 1. So it lasted 1 round, now it's waning. So if it's not used this round, it is gone. Additionally, you cannot create an element and use it on your same turn. So one character can't create an element and use it with their other action. So that prevents some cheesiness. So it kind of promotes cooperation. So we want to use this sun element. The Tinkerer is not going to be able to do it. This red guard is our best bet. So we could do Shocking Advance, attack 3, immobilize, and shield 1 self. And that little 1 in that kind of star shape means that we get 1 XP if we're playing that card. And getting XP on any card that doesn't get a burn is pretty good, because that means it's renewable. So honestly, if we manage to get 2 shield, we'll probably be doing okay. Twirling Stabs would let us target all adjacent enemies with a 3 attack and an XP. That's not bad. I kind of like that option. But we should get at least 1 shield, even if I have the Tinkerer heal. So let's do Swift Strength for the low initiative and the shield, and we'll do Twirling Stabs for the big attack. Tinkerer, we want to heal something, ideally a bottom action, so I think Harmless Contraption might come into play here. And I want an attack, not a burn, just something solid. Maybe Stun Shot. Maybe Stun Shot would be good. If I get a good modifier, I might be able to kill that guy. But I'm also not in range. He's 4 away. So maybe Toxic Bolt could be good. He's not going to kill the elite, so getting him poisoned wouldn't be a bad idea. So Harmless Contraption should be okay. That's kind of our only bottom heal, pretty much. All right, they're going on 30. They're moving and attacking quite a bit. So, yeah, we're going to just go for that. We're going to do this. We're going to consume the light for +1 attack. So that's 3. +1 on both of them. So we killed one. Very nice. And we got an XP. So then I'm going to use the bottom here. We're going to move 2. Every time you kill an enemy, they drop gold onto the floor. The amount of gold you get is essentially based on the scenario level. So it kind of scales up as you go. But for right now, 2 gold every time we pick it up. You can pick it up in one of 2 ways: by ending your turn on it, or by using a loot action to loot some tiles around you. But most of the time, you're just going to be ending your movement on some gold. So we're going to do that. Skip the rest of the movement. Buff ourselves with the shield. End our turn. Okay. So then we're going to heal the red guard for 2. There you go. And shoot a Toxic Bolt here. This is an attack 2, and it will poison him. It's a crit. All right, we'll take that. So he's pretty weakened, and he's poisoned, which does not do damage over time. It just means that for every attack against him, he takes +1 damage. which is pretty good. For big targets, getting them poisoned early can really pay off. Okay, that was a unique scenario. He had advantage, so he drew twice. He drew his crit and his miss. So he took the crit, but thanks to the iron helmet that we bought, it changed the crit to a +0 modifier. So instead of being hit for a 4, he got hit with a 2. And the shield that we used brought it down to 1 damage. So that was pretty solid. The other guy, +1, 1 damage. Okay. Let me look at the Tinkerer here. Another heal would be solid. If I want to heal, I have to give up the an attack this round. There's not really any other option. But we want to use these heals. So let's do... Does he have any other AoEs? Desert Knight's pretty good. No, there's no way that he can damage 2 separate targets this turn. So if we want to kill both of these this turn, I'm going to have both of them attack. Maybe that's a better way to do it. Let's just do Shield of the Desert and Desert Knight. And we'll have the Tinkerer do something a little meaningful. Enhancement Field, attack 3, range 3. That'll probably do the job. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, they're going on 50, so we go first again. The Red Guard is going to be doing Desert Knight. Attack 2. I guess do it on the smaller guy. Go. -1, so 1 damage. We are not finishing this round. We're just going to stay right where we are. Here we're gonna do this on the big guy because he's gonna hit harder. Attack 3, range 3. He's poisoned, so it's a 4. That is enough to do it. And we can do a move 2 and heal all adjacent allies for 1. We will move right here. Confirm. Good. Now both of us are equidistant from this guard. And a couple things. You'll notice he has a move ability. So this turn he would move 3 and attack for 2. Targets will only move if they need to in order to perform their attack or to get close within range of an attack. He does not. His targets are right here, so he does not move. If there are an equidistance between targets that he could hit, he should default to the one with the faster initiative for that turn. So he should hit... Oh, but he's disarmed, so it doesn't matter. He won't do anything. Yeah, he just stands there then. Okay, so we want the Tinkerer to go through the door there and then go into the room to end his turn. So ideally what we have here is the Tinkerer goes first, goes into the room, and then the Red Guard goes after him in order to go in front of him and block any sort of damage. That would be the most ideal scenario. So I guess let's do Stun Shot. It's got a move 4 on it, which you know, we need the movement. And then hook gun, I should be able to kill this guy next to me. The red guard has to go after him, so that's going to be like shield spikes. That's pretty slow, but if we're gonna work our way around this, and he needs a move in order to get in. Honestly, going a little later and working in Flaming Sickle might be the better option. So let's do Flaming Sickle for the top action, Shocking Advance for the bottom action. We do have a ice and a dark, but we have no way of using that as far as I know. Yeah, the Bandit Guard's actually going first. He's shielding for 1 for this turn, so he'll take 1 less damage. And he's doing a 2 attack with poison. So he's going to attack the Tinkerer for 2 and poison him, which really sucks. 1 damage. Even if it did 0 damage, I would still be poisoned. Alright, so here we go. Move in, open the door, and then we're going to step into the room. This is pretty bad. It gets to a point of maybe you don't want to risk all this just for a perk point, but alright, we got him, thank goodness. The guards are both gonna go. Alright, so they had the same action. Shit. Now I'm immobilized. Shit. So they had the same action. Which was shield 1 and attack 2. They shielded 1, but since they're not in melee range of anybody, they couldn't attack. So, because they didn't get a move action this turn. Each enemy has their own ability deck that they draw from. So, sometimes that'll happen, where an enemy just has to stand there and do nothing. Alright, so the red guard... We're not going to be able to hit the archer, which would be ideal. Flaming Sickle, the top part, is a ranged attack. If you use a ranged ability against an adjacent target, you get disadvantage on the attack. So it's pretty shitty. But the alternative is that I don't attack anything. And that's not really great. So I think we're going to move 3, get in there, and do this thing just to hit something. There you go. We lost out on that +2 modifier, which would have been awesome, but we did some damage. All right, 5th round. Red Guard only has 2 options, so that's kind of what it's going to be. Shielding 1 for self by eating the fire is going to be good. And then probably just use a basic attack on the other option. I think that's okay. For Tinkerer, we are poisoned and immobilized. Immobilized will go away after my turn is done. Poison, however, does not ever go away on its own. In order to get rid of it, you have to heal. And whenever you get healed when poisoned, it will negate the entire heal but remove the poison. So generally you want like a little tiny heal to get rid of it and not waste a big heal because it's useless. Yeah. We could heal 3. Pretty much all the attacks are going to target the red guard. He is closer to all of them, so there's really not... I mean, that's a very predictable thing. They're not going to just suddenly decide to target the Tinkerer just for the fun of it. So... I guess maybe if they have a move and attack multiple target option, then they will move to try and hit the most amount of targets. So that would be pretty shitty. Let's assume that doesn't happen. So let's go for Reinvigorating Elixir to heal the big guy. And then bottom action, I can't move, so it really doesn't matter. I could give myself a shield. I should, yeah, I'll move. I'll move. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, that'll work. 15 and 32. So we are going. So they're shielding 1 and attacking 2. So they are not moving. So if we move out of their range, they aren't doing shit. So that's pretty good. I could actually use this heal 2 to remove poison from the Tinkerer. But then I can't move, and that would be worse. So we're definitely using this. But first, I'm going to do the basic melee against this guy for 2. +1, 3 damage. He's got 1 health left. Then we're going to move right here. That's out of melee range. And basically consuming the fire for the shield against the archer and the XP. It's pretty good. Bandit guards, shield and nothing, shield and nothing. The archer is going to move a little bit closer and shoot him for 1 damage, which is fine. All right. The bottom part of this is no longer relevant. So yeah, there's not a whole lot I'm going to do. I'm going to heal him for 3. And then use this even though it doesn't matter because the turn's over. Okay. Now, here is where Insomniac is going to come into play. There are 2 types of rests. There's a short rest and a long rest. A long rest takes your whole turn. You go at initiative 99, so you go last. And you lose your entire turn. But you get to heal yourself for 2. You get to refresh all of your spent item cards, which I should have used this at some point. And you get to pick which card to burn, which is pretty good. Short rest happens immediately at essentially the end of the turn or before the turn, or it doesn't take up a turn. You don't get any health back, your items don't get recovered, and you don't get to pick which card to burn. It's random. You can take a damage to re-roll which card is randomly chosen once, but yeah, it's a bummer. But it doesn't take up your turn, so if you need to go right away and not slow down, you can pick a short rest. Red guard, we're doing long rest. All right, Tinkerer, we still have a turn, so we can do an ink bomb if we want to burn a card. Proximity mine. Yeah, creating a trap. It has its uses if you know that they're going to land on it, or you can position them to land on it, but in this case, not great. I don't really have any good options that's a non-burn. I mean, we're going to pick these cards and we'll just see what happens. All right, they're going. They're going. +0, so that's 2 damage. Bandit guards. Okay, that's really bad. So the guards are doing an attack 2, range 2, and since I'm moving sooner, and the guard and I are, or the red guard and I are equidistant, he targeted me, and he crit. And since I'm poisoned, there's a total of 6 damage. If I take the 6 damage, I'm done, so I have to burn 2 discarded cards, which sucks ass, because we've been very diligent about not burning cards. So, yeah, I don't know, probably... A lot of these are just nice, good cards. And I have uses for all of them. Let's pick Harmless Contraption, I guess. And... God, yeah, it's good. Reviving Shock, I guess. It's painful. It's a painful thing. All right, he took 2 damage because he is not. We're not equidistant to this guy. Okay, I think in this case, since none of them are grouped up or anything like that, I'm just going to move right here, and I'm just going to stab this guy. Oh, skip movement. Yeah, stab this guy. -1, doesn't matter. Good enough. Okay. Long rest. Done. We get to pick which card to burn. Disarm's pretty good. I could see shield spikes, maybe. Yeah, he's got a bunch of good cards. Shield of the Desert, maybe. He's got a lot of tanky cards. I could see burning that as a good ability too. And it's just a nice attack 3 option. Ugh. Alright, let's do Blinding Sickle. Maybe that's dumb, but we'll see. Alright, so you got Insomniac. That's all wrapped up. We really want to get into this Archer. That's gonna be good. So we need a movement of 3. Unless he has a... Does he have a pull? He has a pull 1. Oof. Within 2. So a move 2 and then a pull. If I can pull him into the trap, it's juicy stuff. Those are 3 damage traps. This is also a pull. Okay, so I think we want to go real fast. Let's just go as fast as we can. We'll do Flaming Sickle to do a heavier hit. Tinkerer. Let's long rest. Yeah. That'll get rid of the poison. We won't have to worry. Alright, so we're gonna move here. Back 3. ×2. Oh, she's dead. No! Oh, yeah, that is correct. That is correct. I didn't think about it properly. So a pull, the movement of a pull always has to be closer to the origin. And the movement of a push always has to be further away. So sometimes you can get kind of creative with the way that it works, but here, this movement into this trap is not closer. It's still 2 spaces away. So this is the only spot that's closer to me. Honestly, that's still good because she'll get disadvantaged against the red guard now, but she's still shooting the Tinkerer, and that's not good because unless she gets a negative, I'm gonna have to burn 2 more cards. So it's all pretty shitty. Really would have been nice if she died. Alright. +2, that's 2 damage. And poison. Not looking too hot. A miss on him is good. +1, not good. 2 more cards get burned. Fuck. Ink Bomb and Proximity Mine. Do it. And I'm gonna have to burn another one right now. No, those are all solid. Flamethrower, I guess. Sucks. Alright. Okay, these all need to die today. The Tinkerer definitely wants to pull the Archer into a trap. I think that's clear. So Hook Gun is likely our best option. As for a bottom, moving to and healing all adjacent allies, pretty good. I think we're going to go exactly with that combo because we want to get the poison off the red guard. Red guard just wants to dish out damage to this guard next to him. So, does he have any bot? Oh, he does. Ooh, okay, good. I could easily just kill him. Well, yeah. Okay. So we're going to do definitely twirling stabs for the bottom. And Shield of the Desert for top, I think, is solid. The point is we want to go fast. Yes, perfect. Let them all die. So we want to do the bottom of twirling stabs with the fire because that'll give us an XP, which is nice. It'll wound them. Wound is damage over time. It's 1 damage every turn. So if we can get him down to 1 health, he'll die from the wound, or he should. So there's that. +1, 3 damage with a wound. Now Shield of the Desert, attack 3. +2, very dead. Very, very dead. Hook gun right here. Confirm. +0. Dead. Didn't even have to pull her into a trap, which is kind of bad because the traps are in our way. So we either have to jump over them or someone has to actually walk into it and take 3 damage, which is not too hot. So I think we're going to use something like Swift Strength in order to jump over it. Now, I know for a fact that the next room has quite a few enemies, 4 or 5. And they're going to be on us quick. Now, if we have a lot of movement, like if I burned Desert Knight, we could jump over the trap, open the door, and then jump back and out of line of sight and force them to come in here, which could be good. I'd have to burn Desert Knight in order to do it, so that's a little questionable. But I have no other options for doing a shenanigan like that. Alternatively, Swift Strength will get us just open the door. Tinkerer, does he have any jumps left? No, he'll never be able to jump over anything. So that other option might be better just due to the fact that I don't want to take 3 damage from the trap. So let's do that. And let's see. Yeah, let's heal. Healing Sands, heal Force Self. That's very nice. So let's do those 2. I'm not planning on doing any damage this turn, really. I would just like to get some heals in. So reinvigorating elixir is definitely getting played. And then the other one I don't think matters too much, but we want to make sure we have good cards next turn. Such as Enhancement Field. Or Stun Shot. You might want Toxic Bolt. Alright, let's just use Stun Shot right now. Alright, so let's heal 4 first, just to avoid any shenanigans. That gives us an XP as well. That's a great card. I can't imagine this card will leave my deck for a long time, but... Alright, so here we're going to burn this ability. Move 6, jump, and an XP. I'm going to move here, open the door.
Kicking through the door, you find yourself face to face with the reason these bandits chose this particular hole to nest in. Animate bones. Unholy abominations of necromantic power. Nothing more to do but lay them to rest, along with the remainder of this troublesome rabble.
Alright, so we came in here after a thief that had stolen, I think, some documents, and now we find out that they're consorting with skeletons. Sure. Alright, so 4 enemies. 2 of them are archers, 2 are living bones. None of them are elites, but the living bones, all of their attacks can target 2 things at once, and they all have an innate shield of 1, so they're harder to kill. And it's a good thing that we're not attacking them this turn because they're going to be healing themselves. So this is good. This will be solid. Can I move here without repercussions? Attack, move 1 at range 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're fine. So let's just move back here. It's not out of line of sight, but we're fine for right now. Skip movement, end turn. And that gets burned. They'll move 1, plays a trap. He'll place a trap. He can't move 1 closer because he's blocked, so he doesn't move. Now that bone moved 1, the other one cannot move 1 closer, so he doesn't move. You know, the game operates by just these strict rules of how enemies work. All right, let's just... 1, 2, yeah, okay, I can't hit any of them, so we're just gonna heal. He's at 8, so I guess probably just heal myself just to avoid any complications, and then I'll move 2 onto this gold. Okay. An enemy will step onto a trap if there's no other options for movement. So we don't even need to pull these skeletons onto these traps. Chances are they're going to step on both of them. And damage from traps goes right through shields. So they'll just take 3 damage straight up, which is most of their health. That's pretty good. So we want to go late. Because we want them to come to us instead of us coming to them. We do have swift strength. We could pull 2 targets in if they don't quite make it here. So let's just do shield spike, swift strength. I think that's fine. For the Tinkerer, if they're bunched up, net shooter is going to be pretty solid. So let's go enhancement field, net shooter. Done. Okay. The bones are not going before the red guard, so it's pretty shitty. Okay, he actually managed to hit us, immobilizing us, but that's fine. That's fine. I can jump in there, actually, if I wanted to pop in. The living bones are doing a pretty weak attack of 1, so the shield could work, but that nullifies our trap plan a little bit. But at this point, it's hard to say. Also, I'm immobilized, so forget everything I said. So I think we're just going to heal ourselves for 2 with this, generate a fire element. And I would love to be able to do this, but we can't. Living bones are moving 3 right onto the trap. No damage. Almost onto the trap. Yeah, sadly, I don't have a pull. So we can do an attack 3, range 3 straight up, or we can do an attack 3, range 3, immobilize on both of them and gaining 2 XP, but we'd have to burn it. But to be honest, this is probably a good time to do it. So we can do a little... There we go. We're going to use our eagle eye goggles. We get an advantage on both attacks. Go. Boom, 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 boom. Killed 1, and the other one took a damage and is immobilized. For this, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'll move in a little bit closer. That's about it. All right, red guard. He only has 1 card, so he'd either have to long rest or short rest. We're gonna short rest. Attack 2, targeting all adjacent enemies, or attack 2 on the bottom. It's a pretty good one. Because the attack on the bottom, that's a rare ability, as you might have noticed. Having attacks on the bottom part is pretty rare. So let's redraw. That I think is better. We want to pull him into the trap, because we would get that option. So we could finish this guy pretty nicely. Swift strength or flaming sickle. Probably swift strength. We might not even need the follow-up of twirling stabs if it goes well. Ooh, Flaming Sickle is the follow-up, would be good. Let's do Swift Strength, Flaming Sickle. That way we get the loot. Either way. Tinkerer. I might long rest just because... No, we'll short rest. Yeah, okay, I think that's good. Burn it. We want to go late as possible. Because I don't want to move and worry about the archers or anything like that. So... Hook gun... Stun shot? Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Okay. Living bones are going very late. Alright, but that's fine. Okay, so we're going to swift strength this guy. +0. He takes 1 damage right into there. Dead. And we're going to do this. Enemies would suffer 1 damage. But that doesn't matter. And then we loot 1 and generate a fire. So we get 4 gold there. Pretty solid. Archers are both going. 1 damage. That's nothing. These aren't elites, so it's not too threatening. 1 damage. Then we're going... we could burn the big dog and attack 5. Range 2. We want to get into the room because there's a treasure chest here, and we definitely want that. So we want to start moving, which means that I need to do the top portion. So probably just this attack 2, range 3 poison, and we will move first to here. Attack 2 right here. This guy. 1 damage and he's poisoned. Simple, simple. Now we want him to get in there, so he needs to move 3 at least. We do have a fire, so this would hit both of them. Shield of the Desert. That seems pretty solid. Let's go for that. Tinkerer, we want a big move, so stun shot. And yeah, I don't think he's gonna need the heal. Enhancement field. Okay, they're doing a pretty solid turn. But yeah, right here, right here. We're not gonna consume the fire because we're gonna use that for Shield of the Desert to hit both of them. We're a 3. Boom, one of them's dead. Done. Tinkerer is gonna do a move 4. No, do this first. Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, that was a bummer. Because now that we've killed all the enemies, the scenario is over right after my turn's done. So we actually fucked myself out of that treasure chest. Great. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's a side scenario usually, but...
You take a moment to catch your breath and steel yourself against the visions of living remains ripping at your flesh. Your target is not among the dead. You shudder to think what horrors still await you in the catacombs below.
All right, there you go. Successful scenario. We did both of our battle goals. Tinkerer killed more enemies than the Red Guard, even though the Red Guard did far more damage. Took far more damage. They healed almost the same amount, impressively. Red Guard got a bunch more XP. Tinkerer did not get much. Maybe I was too squeamish with burning cards. Oh, items use 6 for the Red Guard. I think it was using his armor automatically. I don't think I had to think about it. Which, I guess that's good. Alright, so we unlocked a new quest location, the Barrow Lair. So this is what is called a linked quest. So normally after each scenario, you go back to Gloomhaven, the town, and you have a city scenario, and you buy and sell and blah, blah, blah. A linked quest you can go straight into, so you don't have a road encounter, which, like I said, are usually negative. So you miss out on buying stuff and things like that, but you avoid a road encounter if you go straight to the next one. They're not too common, but they pop up once in a while. So we're going to do that. We're going to go straight to the Barrow Lair. That one's a pretty tricky scenario, so that'll be interesting. We're going to do that next time, though, because it is past my bedtime. Scenarios tend to take a while, even with 2 people. I would expect each video is going to be 1 scenario. But, yeah, it's good stuff. Gloomhaven is a very tight, solid game if you like tactical strategy stuff. But alright, my name is Mangg. Game watching has been Gloomhaven. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.